Hello, Judith here, Therapies for the Mind. In my Friday tip video today, I want to talk about your thoughts. When we're suffering with anxiety, a couple of things happen with our thinking. Firstly, we try to use conscious, rational thought to solve the emotional problem that is the illness, that is anxiety, and it doesn't work. And secondly, our thinking tends to become very negative, and I want to focus on that today, that aspect. There's a very simple cognitive behavioural model, don't worry about the word CBT, you may know it as. In that the way that we think, so our thoughts, determine how we feel, and the way that we feel determines how we behave, and the way that we behave influences our thoughts. So we have a nice little circle going on, which can and frequently does become a downward spiral with anxiety. And we can work on any of those three, the thoughts, the feelings and the behaviour. I only really work with behaviour when I'm working with people with habits. So I normally focus on the thoughts and the feelings. And the negative thoughts tend to be anything you can possibly imagine. So all the horrible things that might happen, usually taking them to the worst case scenario. And we also often have very negative thoughts about ourselves. There must be something wrong with me. You know, I'm weak. I'm just not coping, and other people are, or you know, I'm just worthless. I'm just whatever. Again, that can go to the worst possible scenario. And unfortunately does for some people, where it's, you know, I am so useless and so worthless that I shouldn't really be here. Please, please, please don't let it get to that. Take some action way, way before you get to that. So what can we do about these negative thoughts about what might happen or about ourselves? One technique that you can easily do if it suits you. And firstly, it's a question of becoming more aware of those negative thoughts. They're going on all the time, and they're probably part of the thing that's bugging you about being anxious. But we tend to try to avoid them and forget them and push them away. But it's useful to start to become aware of them, to start to notice what those thoughts are. And this can be helped by just writing them down. Just spend a couple of days where whenever you can, whenever a negative thought comes into your head, just jot it down in a notebook. And then you can go through and review those negative thoughts, but just becoming aware of them, just writing them down can help initially. Stopping fighting them, stopping pushing them away, and just becoming aware of them, almost accepting them. That's hard for a lot of us, but just accepting them and being curious about them rather than being emotionally involved in them. Just writing them down. And then when you've got a couple of days worth, you can read through, and generally there's a pattern, and there's a certain thought, negative thought, or a group of negative thoughts that are very similar. Pick the one or the group that is most frequent or most troubling, and think about a more positive way of thinking, so that when that thought comes into your head, you can switch to the more positive thought. Now, it may not be possible for you to go from I'm absolutely worthless to I'm the most amazing person on the planet. So I'm not talking sort of standard affirmations. What would be the one step you can make, you know? Instead of I am worthless, what could you say? I'm okay. Or actually, I'm as good as the next person. Or I'm a human being, and that means I get things wrong and make mistakes, and I'm not perfect, and that's okay. I'm just throwing out suggestions here. You need to find the thing that is believable for you and resonates with you. And then your job is, when you've come up with the more positive thought, is every time you think that negative thought or one of those thoughts from the group that are similar, you replace the thought with the more positive one. And what we're doing here is quite simply, in one sense, just breaking a habit, because this negative thinking does become habitual. Our brains are very good at automating things for us, and they will automate negative thinking, so we don't even have to try and do it. And what this technique enables us to do is firstly become aware of what's going on, because it's so habitual, it feels out of our control. They don't even feel like our thoughts, because they just come into our head from who knows where. So first of all, we're becoming aware of them. Then we're taking ownership of them, because they are our thoughts. And then we're gradually trying to change them into something more positive. And of course, if you get to a more positive thought, which is, you know, I'm as good as the next person, which I'm sure is absolutely true and possibly better than that, then that circle can be changed. We can change a downward spiral into a flat circle where we're not getting any worse, and then hopefully into an upward spiral where we're thinking more positively, therefore we're feeling better, therefore our behaviour improves. And the behavioural improvement can be wonderful. It can be feeling in control, it can be starting to enjoy some things again, or just maybe a bit of peace and quiet in your mind, an end to that endless overthinking. Now, it does require a bit of effort. You do need to write things down, you do need to come up with a positive thought, and you do need to just keep replacing it as often as you can when the negative thought pops into your head. And you won't catch it every time, and that's not a problem. Just whenever you can, change that negative thought into the more positive one and see what happens. Because ultimately, of course, this ability of our brain to automate for us, it'll start automating the new thought. And then maybe you can think of an even more positive one, so you can gradually up the positivity of what you're thinking. And that will have a huge effect. So, as I say, it does require some effort, but it's an effort that is well worthwhile. Okay then, that's my tip for today. There's a weekend coming up. Even if you're really busy, I'm sure you could find some time to just start becoming aware of and noting down those negative thoughts. Best of luck. All my details will be at the end, so if you've got any questions about it, or if you're struggling about it in any way, just get in touch. I'm very happy to answer an email or a text, or even have a quick chat on the phone if that's what you need. Okay then. Until I'm back again, as always, please take care of yourself and stay well and stay safe. Bye.